Blessed day, guys, and peace be upon you today. So in this video, we're going to learn how to allow VLANs or deny VLANs through the trunk interface. So in normal configuration, we should not be allowing everything or denying everything. We should allow or deny certain VLANs as per our configuration. So before I go deep into this, I'll just open the Google spreadsheet and let you know that you are in class day 3 of switching technologies. So today we're going to handle trunk allowed or denied VLANs. I will open this PPT. This is a method that allows or denies certain VLANs through the trunk interface. This will prevent unnecessary traffic from being circulated in our network. Okay, so we see that by default, all the VLANs are allowed through the trunk interface. So for example, when an attacker comes, let's say an attacker comes to this switch, okay, and he creates VLAN, okay. So by default, all the VLANs are allowed to the trunk interface. That VLAN is allowed by default to propagate across our network. So that's why we should employ this security measure of allowing or denying specific VLANs according to our configuration or desire. Okay. All right. So there are ways to do that. There's a way to allow or deny VLANs, and before we get into the ways, I'll just open this notepad to highlight the steps that I've followed to reach this point. Okay, so the first point was to draw the necessary topology, decorate, and comment. So guys, it's very simple. I've not made any configs on this topology. I've only do this topology and comment and provided the comments. So you can see a switch. This switch is connected to this switch through F1, F2, F1, F2 on this side. So this one is taking the remaining interfaces. For example, F3, F4, F5. Okay, and this is VLAN 10. This network and this VLAN 10. Blue background VLAN 10. Yellow background VLAN 20, and the pink background to be VLAN 30. Okay, all right. So the next thing, configure IP addresses to the host devices. So this is what I'm going to do. This is what I'm going to do to demonstrate. For example, this should be in this network 10 dot something. So let's make this one 10.10 and this one to be 10.20. Then this one 20.10, 20.20. Then this one 30.10, 30.20. Okay, so I'll do it very fast to save time. Okay, all right. So I just come here. Okay, so I've done the assigning host devices IP addresses. So the next step on our config guides, so you see that step 3 is to create VLANs on the switches and name them. Okay, all right. So basically, I'm going to create 5 VLANs: VLAN 10, 20, 30, 40, and 50. So I'll go to this switch. We create a name, enable config T. How do you create VLAN? VLAN 10. Let's name it IT. Okay, so guys, as you can see, I've created 3 valid VLANs 10, 20, 30, but for VLAN 40 and 50, you can see I've labeled them ACA1 and ACA2. Okay, all right. So I'll go to the other switch and configure the same VLANs. Now I'll do it very fast to save time. Similarly, in a switch, the other switch, you can see I've created all the valid VLANs, the 3 of them, and the ACA has also created the 2 VLANs, ACA1 and ACA2. Okay, so if I can just say do show VLAN, do show VLAN, you see, oh sorry, do show. Okay, you can see there are 3 valid VLANs. Let's say assume that those are the valid VLANs and 2 ACAs VLAN. Okay, all right. So the next step in our config guide, we need to identify and assign ports numbers. We need to identify and assign ports VLAN numbers appropriately. For example, these ones should be VLAN 10, F3 here, VLAN 10, F4 here, VLAN 20, okay, and F5 here, VLAN 30. Okay, so let me do it very fast to save time. So just interface FA0/3, okay, and switch port mode, just change the mode first to be access, then switch port to access VLAN, let's say VLAN 10. Okay, all right. So we move to the other port, which is FA04. So FA04, okay. So the next step here, the next step is to configure trunk links between the 2 switches. So any link connecting the switches should be trunk. FA1, FA2 on this side, FA1, FA2 on this side. So let's make them trunk links. So just say interface range, because there are more than one, FA0/1 to 2. Just say switch port mode trunk. That's all. You come on this side and exit. Interface range FA0/1 to 2. Then switch port mode trunk. That's all. So the next thing in our configure, display allowed VLANs on the trunk interfaces. Okay, so how do we display allowed VLAN on the trunk interfaces? Very simple. We just say show interface trunk. That's all. And we said by default all the VLANs are allowed to the trunk interface. You can see we add trunk on FA1 and FA2, and all the VLANs, even the hackers VLANs, are allowed. Okay, so if you go to this switch again and say and show interface trunk, you see all of the VLANs are allowed to the trunk interface. Okay, so another step tells us that deny or allow certain VLANs as per your need. The first thing that I'm going to do, I'm going to try to deny. Okay, the first thing that we do, let's deny. Okay, I want to deny these hackers VLAN 40 and 50. So just config T. You deny them on the trunk interface. You first enter the trunk interface. So trunk interface was interface range, okay, FA1 to 2. So we just say switch port trunk allowed VLAN to be allowed VLAN except. Okay, let's first deny VLAN 40 or 50. Okay, except VLAN 50. And if now I can just say do show interface trunk. You can see all the VLANs are allowed except VLAN 50. Okay, but this hacker's VLAN is still here. So I just want a situation whereby we only allow specific VLANs. You can see if we deny VLAN 50, VLAN 40 is still here, or an attacker can still create another VLAN by the name VLAN 60 and it can be allowed by default. Okay, so the best strategy is to allow only specific VLAN. So how are we gonna do this? We just say we are still in the interface, this range. So just say switch port trunk allowed VLAN to be let's say VLAN 10, 20, 30 only, and you hit enter. So if I can just say do show interface trunk, see this, okay. All right, so guys, that's the way to allow specific VLAN through the trunk interface. Okay, so for example, let's say I want to ping this PC to this PC, VLAN 10 to VLAN 10. So I'm going to try to ping the IP address was 10.20 10.20. You see it's pinging. But now let's say just for a demo also on this side, I want to deny VLAN 10 through the trunk interface, meaning this PC will not be able to ping the 10.20. okay. All right, so let's go to this switch and deny VLAN 10. So config T, and we say interface range, the trunk interface FA 0/1 to 2, and we just say switch port trunk allowed VLAN except VLAN except VLAN 10. We just write 10. Okay, do show interface trunk. You see, all the VLANs are allowed except VLAN 10. So that's a way to deny VLAN. But on this side, guys, you could see we allowed VLANs. We allowed VLANs here. They were here. Okay, this is how to allow VLANs. Okay, and this is how to deny VLAN except. Okay, so let me try to ping the same PC that was responding previously. You can see it will not ping now because this switch here is blocking VLAN 10 from passing through the trunk interface. Okay, so guys, thank you so much. I believe this video has really helped you know how to configure VLAN, how to deny or allow VLAN through the trunk interface. And I'll just mark that I'll mark this class as done. So trunk allowed denied VLANs are done. Tomorrow we meet to configure native VLANs, then we move to remote access telnet, SH, etc. So thank you so much, guys, and please share our videos, like our video, and drop a comment below so that we can also motivate it. Thank you so much, and bye.